Hey, all right. Welcome to Operation Takeover. Man, I'm so stoked you're in this class. We're going to have the best time together, and I think you're really going to get a lot out of it. Just real quickly, here's how the class is going to work. We're going to have a great time. By the way, we are going to cover basically these areas. Number one, fundamentals and some not so common sense. Number two, we're going to be covering where the money is. Then we're going to be moving into actually attracting prospects to you, bringing people into your vortex, as I like to call it. Then we're going to shift our focus and get really, really hardcore on actually getting paid. All of the methodologies we use to make sales, rather, from copy to email follow-up to chat bots and messenger funnels and the whole 9 yards. We're going to take a really, really deep dive in that. And then our final piece of the puzzle is selling the unsold by being everywhere. And we'll do that through some really cool and advanced retargeting strategies, which is awesome. So we're going to be covering these 5 critical areas over our next 6 weeks together during this class. And I created this class because, as you've probably noticed, the rules of marketing have changed significantly. It's just so much different than it was. I don't know how long you've been in the game. I got started in 1999. Now, back in 1999, you could send somebody an email and they'd go get their wife and kids and be like, oh my God, look, we got an email from somebody. Now it's, of course, completely different. We've got a huge issue with fragmented attention, and that's because, as you know, people are on multiple platforms, often at the same time. You got Facebook, you got Instagram, YouTube, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM, the rest of the internet, Twitter, LinkedIn. It's just unbelievable. It's no longer just email and web pages anymore. So now they're scattered across all these different platforms. And, some would see that as a challenge. It has proven to be a tremendous opportunity to me and my clients, and I think it will be for you as well. Another thing we've got going on is there's multiple devices now. As I'm recording this for you, my phone is next to me and it's going off. It's like my text messages are going off. And I'm sure you're not the only person in the world who has come home from your computer at work, sat on your sofa with your laptop open, checking stats, watching television, which is probably maybe, YouTube, Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu, or something like that. And then been checking Messenger or DMs on social media between commercials or when you get bored. Meaning people are looking at all of these devices at different times and often the same times, which is crazy. On top of all of this, we've had an exponential growth in noise, meaning the average person's exposure to ads, according to some studies, is up to 10,000 different exposures per day, which, can, on some circumstances, make things harder. In my opinion, again, it's an opportunity because most ads are just absolutely horrible and nobody pays attention to them. So when they see a good one, it's really something, so that's great. And all of this really causes me to be very, very optimistic because what it boils down to is we now have an unprecedented opportunity to reach prospects. It's crazy. That's really, really good. That's where a major part of our opportunity comes from because, look, they've got all these multiple devices. And not only that, the average person spends, I think it's 9.73 or 9.76 hours every day, Monday through Sunday, every single day, 365 days a year, 9.73 hours looking at personal media. And personal media is a fancy way of saying, your computer, your tablet, your phone, or your television. And most television these days is connected, meaning you're like Apple TV, Hulu, Amazon, whatever, right? And because of this, we can be in front of them all the time. So that's the good news. The flip side of that is because of this, the fact that they're on something all the time, by something I mean on some kind of device, pretty much half of their waking hours, that means that the sales cycle in many cases has grown longer. And that can be fixed. But if you're having trouble selling stuff, this is really the culprit here. Research has shown, this is research that's supported by companies involving Nielsen and Google and all these guys. It's not just me making it up. Research has shown that the average consumer, just to buy anything, it's 22 days from the time they start thinking about it until they actually buy it. And during those 22 days, they usually see 32 touches from the brand they're considering, which is bonkers. Now, here's what that does not mean for you, by the way. It doesn't mean that no matter what, it's going to take you 22 days and you got to hit them 32 times. See, the reason it's 22 days and 32 touches is because most marketers are just freaking awful. And they're only reaching people on one medium, like maybe they're only on Facebook or they're only in email, and or their ads are terrible. So please don't let that discourage you. Instead, let it give you encouragement, knowing that, okay, well, here's the way everything works. And man, if we just do better than who we're trying to compete with, we can shorten this significantly because of this right here, this unprecedented opportunity to reach them. We can be in front of them on every device with actual good ads that work. Hot diggity. So that's pretty awesome. And what's really cool and what's really going to help us pull all of this stuff off is that now we've got unprecedented access to data. And data is really the key to absolutely everything. And what I mean by this is not only can we see unbelievable insights about who's buying our stuff, so if you go onto your Facebook page or whatever and look at your audience insights, you'll see everything there is to know about them, what time of day they're checking you out, who's checking you out. You can look at the same thing with Google, like it's crazy. I'll even introduce you to websites that'll show you data about your competitors' customers. It's just absolutely nuts. So we not only have unprecedented access to data about our customers, we have unprecedented access to data about our competitors' customers, and even more importantly, to a degree, maybe even actually just flat out more importantly, we've got unprecedented access to know what everybody's doing. So there are very little secrets now in business. If you know how to do it and you know how to look and what to do, and I'll show you what to do, you can pretty much reverse engineer anybody's business, which is awesome. So all of this is good news, but because of all of this, especially, the first 3 points on this slide here, the rules really have changed. If you continue marketing the way that everybody has for so long with just email and web pages or whatever, you're going to get left behind. So in this class, we're going to cure that problem. And not only are we going to cure it, we're also going to turbocharge everything you're doing to just make your marketing run like a well-oiled machine and really, really be magnetic to the perfect people all the time, which is great, okay? So with that said, let's kind of go back to some more not so common sense here, which is this. If you think about it, okay, so if you think about this, pretty much every successful online business out there makes their money by showing ads to people, and those ads drive people to some sort of a web page, right? I mean, surely there's an exception to this rule, but if you just break down online businesses, and these can be brick and mortar businesses, incidentally, that use the internet to acquire customers. It doesn't have to be an internet-based business, quote unquote. It doesn't matter, right? So I should probably revise that. If you look at 99.99% of all businesses that use the internet to get people to give them money, here's what they're doing. They're showing ads to people, and those ads drive people to some kind of landing page. Period, the end. End of story, right? Most of the time, general statement. Well, if we explore that further, we can then look and say, okay, well, what is an ad? Well, an ad's an image, it's a picture or something, or a video, and then it's got some words, aka copy. And that's it, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what type of ad it is. If it's a Google AdWords ad, it ain't got no pictures, just words. If it's a Facebook, ad, it's either got a picture and some words or it's a video and some words, right? If it's a YouTube ad, it's just a video, ain't got no copy on it. If it's a Twitter ad, it's just typically just going to be some words and stuff, although you can get a little bit fancy, etc. Right? If it's a retargeting ad, it's on the rest of the internet, it's a banner, and the banner can have a picture on there and some words and stuff. So it's pretty simplified if we think about it. Right? That, hey, the ad's just images and words, that's it. And then the same thing goes for the web pages. If you look at a web page that's working and you say, well, what is this thing really? Well, it's a combination of images or videos and words. Printed, in this case metaphorically printed, displayed on a screen for someone to consume. And look, the reason I'm telling you this is not to be like, hey, everything is easy. It's just to sort of really frame what we're about to do here. And it's based on this logic, and here it is. if we understand that, look, most successful businesses make their money by showing ads to people, and those ads drive people to some sort of landing page, and both the ads and the web pages are nothing more than a combination of images or videos and words, then logic dictates, hey, you know what? If we show them similar but better images and words, and we show those better images and words to the same people that the competition's showing them to, we can get similar and potentially even better results. Hell, we should get better results if our product's better and if our images and words are better, right? So it really can be that simple to a degree, assuming we have these two things locked in. And these are really, really important, by the way. Here they are. These are the real things to start thinking about with all of this said, right? Thing number one is, okay, who are these successful people showing the ads to? Right? Because the who can often way outweigh the importance of what the ad says. I mean, I always make this joke, like if you and I were selling really crappy, tap water straight from the hose in unsanitary used plastic bottles, and so it's a terrible product, and our ad, we're holding up a road sign or something, and our road sign says, tap water from the hose, served fresh in relatively kind of clean used plastic bottles. If we had that little water stand, you and I are selling water at a water stand, and we stuck that sign out in our water stand, and we put that at the finish line of one of those Iron Man ultra endurance death races, where people do crazy stuff like run 100 miles or whatever through the desert, we'd sell out of water because of who we're showing that to. Those people are very dehydrated and thirsty. Like, screw it, dude, I don't care. Water's water. As long as I'm not going to get freaking Montezuma's Revenge or something from this, I'm going to go ahead and buy it from you, give it to me, right? So that's a huge question. Who are these people showing the ads to? Because it's real easy to figure out what the ads are, right? And then, okay, even more important to a degree is what's happening behind the scenes. And this is a big deal. So many people will start the internet game going, oh, so-and-so's got a little book about XYZ, and all I got to do is make me a book about XYZ, and I'm going to get rich too. And they don't realize that so-and-so's got a book that leads to an upsell, that leads to a webinar, that leads to a course, that leads to a live event, that leads to a consulting agreement or advertising services or whatever. All they see is the book, right? So we got to know what's going on behind the scenes. And ultimately, all this stuff comes down to math, right? So I call these the big seven. Here's the deal. Marketing and advertising, which are really the same thing, marketing and advertising, but for whatever reason, there's just multiple terms for the same thing, in my opinion. Look, end of the day, no matter what you want to call it, marketing, ads, whatever, is just as much math, if not more, than it is creativity. Meaning, the numbers can actually outweigh how cool the ads are. No kidding. So here are the big seven. And if you know how to diagnose these numbers and analyze these numbers, which pretty freaking easy, because everything we're going to do, it just shows them to you. It's not like you have to come up with any calculator or actually perform any, mathematical functions yourself. Thank God I failed math. But anyway, if you know these big seven, then you're going to be okay, because we can reverse engineer everything. If you run into problems, we know how to fix it. Like, these are big seven. They're the keys to the universe. Okay, so here they are. Number one, CPM stands for cost per thousand, by the way, and it means literally what I just said: how much it costs to get your ad shown to 1,000 people. Here's the thing: just about any ad online that you run or buy or whatever, almost any ad, with the exception of like Google AdWords or something, it's sold based on this. For example, if you run a Facebook ad, what you're really paying is Facebook X amount of dollars to show your ad to 1,000 people, and that's it, right? Same with display ads, retargeting ads, Google Content Network ads, all that kind of stuff. It's ultimately you're paying X amount of dollars to show your ad to 1,000 people, and then the cost of a visitor is determined by CTR, your click-through rate, which is what percentage of those people click. So, for example, if it costs you $10 to show your ad to 1,000 people, and one of those 1,000 people click, then it just costs you $10 to get a click. But if the ad's written better, and let's say 100 of those 1,000 people click, and it cost you, I think, a dime to get that click. Nothing changed but the ad, right? So that's why it's important that when you're analyzing stuff and looking at all the stuff we're going to do, and of course I'm here to help you do all this, so I don't want to freak you out or anything, but it's important to understand that, right? So just understanding these two things alone can make or break something, which is fantastic. Okay, the next one is the cost per click. And usually the cost per click is determined by the two factors up there above. If it costs you $10 to run your ad to 1,000 people and you get 1% click-through rate, that means it's costing you a dollar per click. If it costs $10 to run your ad to 1,000 people and you get a 2% click-through rate, that means it's getting you 20 or whatever it is, 50 cents per click, right? I'm trying to do math in my head while I'm being recorded. Very dangerous. So the cool news about all of this stuff is you don't have to figure it out. All the stuff we're going to use. We're going to use social media. We're going to use retargeting. We're going to use email. We're going to use Messenger. We're going to use all this kind of stuff. It shows you this stuff anyway. So you don't have to do any actual math, thank God. But if you know what to look for in the event things aren't going your way, or in the event things are and you want to make them better, we can just kind of look at these numbers and say, oh, I know if we just get this one little piece of the puzzle a little bit better, everything changes, which is fantastic. Okay, really, really cool. The next little three-letter phrase here in our big seven is CPL. That's the cost per lead or opt-in. That's usually going to be determined by the combination of words and pictures and stuff that you have on your opt-in page, right? If your words and pictures on your opt-in page are terrible, then your cost per opt-in is going to be high because not that many people are going to opt in. But if your words and pictures are good, then your cost per opt-in is going to be pretty low. And you want it to be, right? So really common sense stuff. The next one is going to be the CPA. Stands for cost per action. And it depends on who you're talking to. I'm going to define this now as our cost per sale. Right? Now, technically speaking, like if we're dealing with hardcore affiliate marketers or whatever, a CPA could be a cost per any action. It could be a cost for someone submitting an email address or entering a zip code or something. And for the case of our conversations during our work together, CPA will stand for cost per sale. Okay? Now, our next one, this is a big one. This is all of this stuff, all of these guys right here. You can figure this stuff out at a glance because all of the platforms we're going to use, they'll just tell you. So that's pretty cool. All right. The next one, this comes from actually doing your homework. Number one is the average order value. Okay. I have this happen all the time, which is why I'm making a big deal out of this for you right up out of the gate. I'll have people that are they're either experienced or they're not, and they're running into trouble where they're not making as much money as they want. And in many cases, the cure is to get the average order value up. And what that means is the amount of money people give you in a single transaction. I'll give you an example. My book funnel. I've got a book. You can see it at frankkernbook.com. It's pretty good. Wrote it myself. The book sells for $5.60. Now, my CPA, my cost to sell that book, ranges, depending on whether or not the gods are with me, anywhere between $17 and $35. Can you believe that? Sometimes it costs me up to $35 to sell a book that's $5.60. Now, if my average order value, meaning the maximum amount of money that people are going to give me on average every time they bought that book, was only $5.60, I could very well be in a lot of trouble. But it's not. My average order value is typically over $40 because I have other stuff going on behind the scenes. Remember, we determined earlier that, hey, this whole internet game, you got people with words and pictures and ads, sending people to words and pictures on web pages, and the two big questions are, who the hell are they showing those words and pictures to, and what's going on behind the scenes? That's what I mean by behind the scenes, right? We need to know everything about your competitors that are going on behind the scenes if we want to beat them, because we can just do it better, which is important, right? Okay, the final one is LTV, and that's the lifetime value of the customer, which of course is impossible to determine because, hey, who knows? They could live 100 years. So let's define this as like the 90-day value of a customer or something. Make sense? So we'll just kind of say that. But technically speaking, it's lifetime value. But who the hell knows that? Really? We'd have to have a time machine to figure that out. Hell, I don't know. Let's jump 20 years in the future and see. We can't do that. So let's just define this as the 90-day value of a customer. And the reason that's important is because, let's go back to my book funnel. What really happens in my book funnel is people buy the book, and then they might buy the upsells, they might not, and then we call them on the horn. And we say, hey, You just bought this book called How to Create Internet Campaigns That Sell, which would indicate to us you might be interested in, I don't know, creating internet campaigns that sell. Just so happens that your old boy Frankie, he's a co-founder of this ad agency here called Cardone Kern, and we could just create the campaigns for you. What do you say? Slightly different conversation, but pretty dang close. Some of those people become agency clients. That totally changes the lifetime value of that customer. In that case, if enough of those people became agency clients, I wouldn't give a damn if my AOV was $5.60, would I? Because I'm making money on the back end. We need to know this stuff about your competitors to the best of our ability, right? So you can make smart decisions on what to do during Operation Takeover. See, here's the big thing, all right? If you know who your competitors are showing their ads to, which we're going to find out pretty quickly, by the way, not too hard, thankfully. Okay, if we know that, A, and B, if we know what words, images, and pictures are working, and this can be within the context of content that they're watching or actual ads they're clicking on and all that stuff, right? So I use the word ads to kind of define everything. Like even to me, content is an ad. You know, like I will advertise actual freaking content that's not even really technically an ad, you know, so forgive me for using those two words interchangeably. But anyway, if you know what words, images, and pictures and whatever, if you know what's working and you know what's going on behind the scenes, like, hey, okay, what they got some upsells and stuff. What happens after I buy this? If you know all that stuff, man, you can beat them. And here's the cool deal. Finding out all that stuff, well, shit. Almost all of the answers to these questions are totally available to everybody, like for nothing. I mean, well, you might, if you want to, invest in some, I would say fancy tools, but it's not fancy. You might, you know, spend like a go hog wild crazy and spend like $60 or something. But typically speaking, you can find out all of this kind of stuff for free. And we're gonna before we start making anything. Because here's the deal, right? I mean, if you think about it, common sense says something along the lines of this. If a fella's got something you want, kind of makes sense to do whatever the heck it was he did to get it. Maybe get it even faster if you do that better, right? So that's what we're going to do. Now, here's our big picture, okay? So this is ultimately all this stuff we're going to do, all this competitive research and finding out about the words and pictures that people are using. We're going to plug all that data into this. What if I was like, okay, next slide, please? You know, no, not really. Okay, so here's how the process works, right? Now we know, statistically speaking, according to research, we know that, and now I forgot the exact percentage, it's over 70% though. So we'll say the majority, the overwhelming majority actually of consumers, no matter what it is, they prefer to find out about products. And man, a product could be defined as a car, a coaching service, a legal service, a pair of shoes. It doesn't matter. You know, so I'm just going to say product is the thing you sell, even if whatever it is you sell is a service. I mean, we got an ad agency, but our product is delivering that service. So you get it, right? Overwhelming majority of people, they prefer to find out and learn about stuff they're going to buy through content. Well, if we know, right, that that's how they want to find out about stuff, kind of makes sense we start with this. We start showing people content. Now, remember, two big questions. Hey, who are these successful businesses showing their stuff to? So I'm giving you this entire like weird looking diagram thingy here under the pretense that, hey, we're doing all this to the right people, all right? Which we will, which is cool. And I'll show you how to do it. Don't worry about it. It's cool. It's fun. Okay, so we start with this content, right? We show the right people the right stuff about your products, aka content. And then we look to see, hey, did that person engage with that content? And here's what engage means, okay? And this is platform agnostic, by the way, meaning that you could be doing this on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the rest of the internet, doesn't matter. For our purposes, we're almost always going to start out on social because it's doing it this way on social is relatively inexpensive. But anyway, engage means did they watch it? Or did they click to read it if it's an article? Or did they like it? Or did they comment on it? Or did they share it? If they did any of that stuff, we move on to the next phase. If they didn't, we just keep showing them more content until they do. Okay? But let's say they engaged. They watched 10 seconds of your video, or they clicked it, or whatever. Well, in their engagement, they can do two things. They can either just watch some of it or whatever, or they can click to go to your website. All right? Let's go and follow this no path here and assume they watched a little bit of your content, whether it was a video or what. By the way, just before you get concerned that you have to make videos, if you will recall my promotion for this very class, I wasn't in any of the videos. It was just words on a screen and my voice. I did that on purpose, so you don't have to make fancy videos. Anyway, let's say they consumed some of your content, but they didn't go to your website. Well, we know they're interested in the product. By the way, your content always talks about your product to some degree. I'll give you some frameworks later on. We can assume they're interested in the product because they engaged, but they didn't click, and that's okay. So what we want to do now is we understand, hey, this is somebody who's interested. They are now on day one of that 22-day journey, right? Because they saw your stuff. Now they've engaged, so it's at least crossed their mind that the result you talk about is something they want. Right? So what we do is we start showing them more content, and we kind of break it up into this ratio. About 60% of your effort is given showing them more content, and then 40% of your effort is showing them offers like, hey, go here and do this. And that offer could be for a lead magnet, go here, get on a webinar, or it could be like, go here and get 20% off of this widget. Doesn't matter. Offer's an offer, right? So if they click on content here or offer here, or if they click right here and go to your webpage, now we start getting jiggy. Okay, and now we really truly begin Operation Takeover. Because the minute they go to your page, we can start retargeting them with multi-channel marketing, which is such a boring sounding term, but that's what it is. Once they hit your webpage, we know they've been there, and now we can start showing them ads on social, which, we would maybe even start here, but we can start showing them different ads on Instagram, Facebook. We can start retargeting them on YouTube. We can start retargeting them on the rest of the internet, which is huge on display. And what we're going to do here is now we're going to change up the mix of what they're seeing. We're going to show them about 80% of our efforts is going to be just offers. So, if this original content here is about shoes, and then it's about like, here's how you can run faster with the latest pair of Nikes, right? And they click it, we're going to show them 80%, hey, go over here and get these Nikes, hot diggity. And then 20% of that is, hey, here's how these Nikes are, here's how cool they are, and here's how they're made, and all of that kind of stuff. If they don't click it, then we've got a different situation, right? We're going to show them about 60% of our effort is going to be in more content about the shoes and how they're made, et cetera, or whatever. And then 40% is, hey, you should go here and hot diggity, get these here Nikes, right? And of course, if they buy the Nikes, in this case, we stop doing all this stuff because they're customers. So this is how our flow chart works. And it's really relatively simple. You don't have to make a ton of content, by the way. You don't have to do a lot of different coding or anything very difficult like that. You just kind of have to know this ratio and have yourself a plan. And that's what we're going to do during this class. And I'll walk you through it. And it all begins with who the heck do we start showing this stuff to in the first place, right? And where do we show it? So let's start with the who, okay? Who we're going to show this stuff to is answered by this one question, which is posed by my man, Grant Cardone. He's the Cardone in Cardone Kern, also known as the other guy, right? I say that just in the rare case he's actually paying attention to this class, because we all can agree I'm everybody's favorite. Anyway, who's got your money, right? Well, the person who's got your money is going to be your competitors in this case, within this context, right? Hey, your competitors are getting your money. I mean, undoubtedly, you got some competition, and there's a situation, look, something like this. People are giving them their money, and you would rather those same folks give you their money, right? Well, that's the deal with competitors, right? So our first step is to really be like, okay, who are my top 5 competitors? And you might not even think of them as competitors. You might be like, who are 5 people that my audience, my ideal customer, are giving money to when they should be giving that money to me, okay? And you want to make a list of 5 of them. And you could make a list of 100 of them if you want to, but I think 5 is a pretty good start. All right. Now, our second step here, and I'm going to walk you through, well, I mean, obviously the first step here is pretty simple. I'm going to walk you through how to do this next part here in a sec. So your second step is to see what kind of content is working, right? And the reason why is this. Look, it starts here, right? If we know that 70% of consumers prefer, actually a little more than 70%, actually prefer to learn about products and stuff through content, then we need to be over here and go, what kind of content are these suckers making that's getting the interest of the people who I want them to give me their money, right? Makes sense? And our third step is make sure we know what's going on behind the scenes. And that's pretty simple. You just buy their stuff or opt into their funnel and see what they do. But we never want to assume. Right? Like, don't lose your shirt because you think a guy selling a book is getting rich just selling the book. You know, you need to buy the book and see what else he's selling you. Okay? And our fourth step is once we have this data, now we can take over. Because we find out the who is. It's real simple to find out who your top 5 competitors are attracting. And then the rest, man, we can tell just by spying. So let's get to work. Speaking of spying, let's do something. And look at that, through the magic of editing, here we are, right at the computer. Okay, so what I've done, pretty simple. Just opened up a little Google document, and I've called it a competitor analysis. And what I want you to do here is write out your 5 competitors and their websites. Now, I'm not going to do this for 5 people. I'm just going to do it for 1. And we'll start with competitor name and their website. And now we're going to use some tools here to start spying on these dudes and see what's going on, what's working, and who their who is, who they're showing their stuff to, what stuff is working best. And this is pretty cool. So, first site we want to check out is one called SimilarWeb. Now, here's what it looks like for now. Now, of course, you know, the minute I publish this video, they're going to change this web page for. And you can try it for free. And a lot of these sites, you can only try so many times for free until they start charging you. I'm going to type in old G Money's website here. Oh, look at there. GrantCardone.com, and in the year 10 million, it'll bring up their stuff here. Cool. Okay, so we get a little overview of this, and there's a lot more data that we could get here, but we've got a little bit of an overview at the very least of Grant's website. So what we can see is where he is and where he was founded and all of this kind of stuff. And what's really interesting is we can see traffic by countries here. And this is kind of cool because we know he's getting half of his traffic in the United States, and he's getting 9% in UK, and he's getting 2.91% in Brazil. And what's interesting is if you know where traffic sources are, you can sometimes exploit little gaps. For example, if people in Brazil are buying stuff from our main man G Money, then it might make sense to target Brazilian English-speaking people with similar but better ads to similar but better landing pages, assuming, you know, we were competing with Grant. The reason why being he's probably not deliberately targeting these folks, and traffic in Brazil is pretty cheap. Okay, so that's just kind of one of the things you can do. So first thing I would do is I would come over here just knowing this, right, just looking at these two things, and I would say, I would put here little notes, and I would say test traffic to Germany and Brazil. All right, because, hey, it's pretty cheap in these two places compared to US, UK, and Canada. Right? Now, this doesn't mean, okay, all we're going to do is just target Brazil and Germany and compete with Grant, but it's just an immediate takeaway that we can figure out here. All right, so that's thing number 1. All right, now what's really cool about this is we can see their top referring websites here, which means where Grant's getting traffic from. All right, and these are like people that are listing his stuff. So clearly there's either he's got a display ad running on CNBC, or he's got an article that's featured there. Now, he was recently interviewed on CNBC. Let's see if we can find any data here. And maybe we got a retargeting banner that's showing up, and that's why it's working for him. Yeah, there's a retargeting banner, but it's not our main man, G Money. And I would be probably cookied for retargeting here. Look, Bill Murray. Can't go wrong with Bill Murray. Okay, ADD back under control. We'll hit refresh here and just see what's going on. And typically what we're looking for is to see if there's like an article site or something that someone's getting a lot of traffic from, because we could potentially get something published on the same website. Now, if you want to dig deeper on this, you have to pay for it. And what's weird about SimilarWeb is that, check it out, they don't just like tell you, oh, maybe they will. Hang on, we'll see. Maybe something's changed. I'm going to see if I can sign up with an account here. Hold tight. This is a pleasant surprise. They let me just take a trial. That was awesome. So I just signed up through Google and took a trial, and I got 10 days. Hot diggity. So literally like a couple days ago I was here, and I didn't have that option that I could tell. It was like, talk to a consultant, which means it's expensive AF, right? But anyway, okay, so here are, it's taking me back here. Here are the top referring websites for G Money. So what I'm going to look for here is, well, this is just interesting. Oh, they want me to upgrade my account some more? Really, guys? Come on, I just took the stupid trial. Okay, whatever. So they didn't really get anything cool. Peckerwoods. So this isn't necessarily the coolest part, but we can at least see what's going on here. So it looks like Grant's published on Medium, or people are talking about him on Medium. And here's what's interesting. All right. So if we know that content is what is bringing people in, because 70+ % of people prefer to learn about content, and we know that Medium is a website that is specifically built for publishing written content, that I'm going to put over here in my notes, see what's published on Medium. Because the whole idea is, hey, it ain't nothing but a collection of images and words driving people to more images and words, and I'm going to count videos in there as well. Well, this content on Medium, we'll find out what it is here shortly. This content on medium.com, well, that's ain't nothing but words. Probably not even any images, right? So clearly there's something that people are responding to there. But we don't really stop there with SimilarWeb. There's a lot more cool stuff that we can check out here. Thing being audience. Have a look here. Okay, so let's check out demographics first of all. And because SimilarWeb is somehow plugged in through Google or something, who knows how they get this data? Pretty freaking big company. We know that he's got mostly dudes, and biggest chunk of folks are going to be between 25 and 35. So that's over 50% of the total market there. So I'm going to put, and look, yeah, I was going to see if we could get data on each individual gender, but it doesn't look like we can, which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to put right here just so we know. Now this is if we're running content, by the way, on social. It makes sense to primarily show it to, at the very least, individuals. It's not skewed too heavily male where we would only do men. It's mostly men, but it's not that big of a difference there. So people between 25 and 45 is going to be our age thing. So I'm just going to put over here 68% male, 25 through 45. Okay, so that's a little bit more about his who that we're finding out, but we're not nearly done. Now, another thing we can learn here at old SimilarWeb, aside from some basic audience stuff, is if we come over here and we go to social traffic. So here, let me just get to where I was. Alrighty, shoot, come on. Where's my man G Money? Okay, and I want to go to, well, I just want to show you how to get here. Regardless, under social traffic, so you click on social traffic and then you click on overview. And this is how I got to this page. I just want to make sure you know how to get to this page because this is fascinating, right? So we have right here from April 2019 to June 2019. This is what it's showing me. Now remember, I'm in the free trial, so I could probably dig deeper in this thing. Not quite sure what the cost is here. Oh, I don't think they charge me. I think I have to talk to somebody. So whatever. Nonetheless, though, have a look here. This is interesting. I know that 57% of traffic comes from Facebook, 38% of it comes from YouTube, and then all this other stuff is pretty much irrelevant to me, right? Because we've got 89, actually we have 90% of traffic from social coming from these two networks. So this is where we're going to focus on in terms of researching our main man, Uncle G. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to paste what I just copied there. Yeah, it looks kind of terrible, but whatever. I get it for my own research purposes, right? All right, so have a look here. I'm going to come back over here, and it's interesting what we can discover on YouTube. Now remember, there's a couple of things we want to find out. We want to find out who's checking this stuff out and what is it that's driving people to the site. So if we understand that the purpose of content is to engage people and then to drive them to your site, it makes sense to find the actual content that's driving people to the site. And here on SimilarWeb, what we can find out is if we go over here to YouTube, we can find out specific videos. All right, so
hey, Grant Cardone.
Look at this. Hot diggity. There's one right there. All right, so we got video number 1. This is a little pitch here for a little class that he and I did together. Actually, that's kind of cool. So I'm going to put YouTube videos. Good Lord, if I can only spell. That sent traffic. Incidentally, I got a good indication that this is not an ad because it's not viewed that much, right? So if this was an ad, this would be viewed several 100,000 times, mainly because YouTube videos are pretty cheap to get someone to see. So like, you know, when Grant spends money on ads, it's a lot of money, and to get this many views, it might be like, good Lord, I don't even know, $500 to $1,000 or something like that, maybe a little bit more. So this is probably organic. Nonetheless, let's come back over here. All right, so I'm just going to do these and just check them out.
I'm getting ready to go in and do a meeting for my sales team.
Sorry about. There we go. Okay, look at this thing, 3 million views. Crazy. Now this was published a year ago. Unlikely that it's an ad. Hard to tell. Yeah, I mean, it's 30 minutes, right? So this is a classic example of stuff that people are watching and digging, right? So I'm going to put this in my little list as well. Okay, actually, I'll organize this a little bit better. Like so. Bing. There we go. And let's have a look over here. Now, check this out, all right? So we've got 29% of traffic is coming from YouTube. I wonder if they'll let me see more. Oh, they will. Look at this. Okay. Now, they're giving me in descending amounts all of the videos that are actually sending traffic here to this domain. And that's freaking awesome, all right? I mean, that's pretty hard to beat. So what I want to do here is I'm not going to paste every single one of them. I'm just going to come down to these ones that are like the highest ones. So I'll just choose like these top 4 here. And you can paste every single one of them, and you should go through like everything to see the commonalities and what the major themes are, right? But for now, I'm just going to look at the top 4. So let's have a look at this one here. Unavailable. Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? That's weird. Okay, well, whatever. All right, and let's go down to this one here. There we go. Okay, and this is how to set goals to become a millionaire. So if you notice, all right, if you notice, uno momento, let me just put this over here. This is 2. I wonder if you know where, I wonder if you know where this is headed, by the way. Let's just look at the next one down. Okay. All right, and here's the next one. Okay, so of our top, whatever this is 4, now the 5th one is actually technically top 5, but one of them wouldn't play for whatever reason. This one and this one had millionaire in it, right? And all 3 of them, 5 steps, 3 tips, actually all of them, 3 tips, 5 steps, and 7 signs. So 3 out of the 4 had a number of things to do. And this is important, right? So what I'm going to make here as a note is 2 videos had millionaire specifically in title, and 3 had specific number such as X ways to Y. And this is important because the title of the content, good Lord, I cannot spell, y'all, sorry. The title of the content that you're publishing is one of the first things people see, especially on these networks. So the title matters. And if we look at all of these things, 3 out of 4 of them have X ways to Y or X steps to Y or whatever in the title, and 50% of them have the word millionaire in there. And I bet if we were to start going through these things, all right, and just kind of looking at them, and I won't go too long on this thing.
How about this? What do they tell you?
Okay, that doesn't have it. I bet we're going to see this to be a greater trend here. All right, just kind of random. Look at old buddy there. Best advice for a 20-year-old. Don't mess up my theory, Grant. Quit messing me up.
See this graph right there?
There's another one. 2 simple steps, right? Oh, that's me. That's on Grant's, that's pretty funny. That's on his channel, but this is actually Lead Magnet with your old boy Frankie. Look, there I am. So we can see a trend here, all right, where obviously everything's about money. Typically it is going to have a number in there, which is X amount of steps. So that's what I'm looking for. And I'm kind of going quickly right now because I don't want to take like 7 years and make you watch me go through all of Grant's. But if I was doing like hardcore competitive analysis here, that's what I would be doing. I'd be doing 80-20 on it, right? So simply to explain that in greater detail, what I would do is there's 236. So I would say, okay, what's 20%? I know these are all ranked in amount of traffic here, right? So what's the 20% of 236? 236 times 20%. And I would know that 47, the first 47 of these videos, and I can conclude this because these are ranked by how much traffic they're sending, right? I would know that the first 47 of these videos are sending 80% of this 29% traffic thing. So I would want to look at these 47. I'm not going to make you watch me do it because you'll go to sleep and that'll be terrible. But that's what I would do because 20% of 236 is 47. And these are the top 20% that's sending the majority of the traffic here. So I would go and do that. And here's what we would probably find. Now, this might change, but we'd probably find that, hey, they're all about money, obviously, and they all have this X steps to Y in there. And we would probably notice a theme too. And if I were to guess, the theme would be that this is about young people. This is another one for young people, right? This is about real estate, so it's kind of it's an outlier. This is how to become a millionaire. This is how to become a millionaire, all right? And this is make money online, and probably if he just said become a millionaire on social media, it would have been even more popular. Although I don't necessarily recommend doing that in your content because it could be perceived as an income claim. So last thing we want to do. But I think you get where I'm going. We're noticing a pattern here, which is this is X steps. It's typically geared towards younger people, and it's typically about making money, and the word millionaire is used a lot, right? So that is like kind of a way you can dig deeper on seeing what content people are actually responding to. Now, if we come back over here, we know that, all right, if we show content like this to an audience that's 68% male between the ages of 25 and 45, or more accurately, if we show content like this, if we find all these commonalities and we show it to, men between 25 and 45 years of age, then we're probably going to do pretty good, but that's still a little bit general. So check this out about SimilarWeb and what it'll do. We can also come over here and under audience, we can go, we already did demographics, we can go audience interests. All right. And this is like ridiculous. So we know that, let's see, we can even it won't let us, will it? Come on, y'all. We know that, okay, our top categories here. Well, first of all, we know that they're pulling a lot of data from Google, by the way. So this is very, very useful when we're starting to run ads on, like, if we run ads on YouTube or banner retargeting or whatever. We know that, okay, obviously they're into online marketing. And then in here, if we click on this, right, we see like all of these subdomains. So look, people who are into Tai Lopez and ClickFunnels, huge contributor, right, in terms of the audience interests here. So I would put, and if we gave them money, we could get even more stuff, right? I would put here a little subcategory of interests. There we go. Make money online. I'm going to put a tab, Tai Lopez, tab, ClickFunnels. All right, so now look at where we're going. Now, if we just went on, let's say, Facebook, and we targeted people, men, between the ages of 25 and 45. Actually, I wouldn't even do men only, because it's not too heavily skewed towards men. I just say people between the ages of 25 and 45 who like Tai Lopez and ClickFunnels, and showed them this type of content, we'd probably have their attention to a degree, right? Now, what we're going to do in the content, we'll get into that later, but I'm just going to help you understand, like, hey, you know, it ain't that hard to reverse engineer this stuff, which is pretty sweet, okay? So let me kind of ease on back over here, and I'll do this for computers and electronics. This is interesting. That's here. Oh, and it's not showing us anything. Thanks, guys. All right, well, that's delightful. So I'd have to pay them more to get more data there, but that's fine, whatever, you know? So, excuse me, and this is likely about as much as we'll get from that, right? But it's still helpful, you know? It's still very, very helpful. So that's pretty cool. Now, another thing that we can do is look at referral traffic, incoming traffic, and this is websites that are sending in stuff, which we've already done, which we found out was Medium. That was pretty good. Sorry about that one. And we already did social traffic. So another one that we can look for is, where did we, oh man, sorry guys, hit the wrong thing here. Another one we can look at is display traffic. And this is pretty fascinating. We can look at an overview, and we can find out where his banner stuff is being served from. And this is interesting, right? So we know he's getting there, for some reason they're putting YouTube as display, which is strange, you know, because I wouldn't count that as display. But we also see, like, look, he's using a platform called AdRoll. And now you and I are going to be doing a lot in AdRoll, by the way. AdRoll is probably showing that on Google Display Network, which is fine. And then we can see, like, actual websites where display ads are being shown. Oh, I meant to go to this website. Sorry. Porno Video 24. Okay, then. Let me get out of there. Okay. I'm trying to go to this website. Please don't be an adult site. Ah, dang it. All right, that's messed up. And, you know, these things will do that to you sometimes. LAtribune.fr. Now, this is fascinating, all right? So this is, we know that his banners, he's getting a lot of traffic from LA Tribune, translated in French, okay? And so here's exactly what's happening. You see this right here? This is a banner ad for SendGrid and Twilio. I use SendGrid, so that's probably I'm cookied for them because I went to their website. I have checked out Perfect Audience. This is another banner ad here. So we know that for whatever reason, English-speaking people that are going to the French version of LA Tribune are clicking over to Grant's site. And this is worth knowing, right? So reason why is specifically this site. We probably couldn't do it, but you could potentially make a deal with the owner of the website that's sending traffic to just sell you traffic, and, like, you know, for X amount of dollars per month, just always have your ad on that site. So that could be a potential opportunity. Unlikely with LA Tribune, right? So LAtribune.fr. That's so bizarre. Okay, let's see. Almost accidentally clicked on some sort of smutty thing there, which would have been extremely embarrassing. You know, super embarrassing. Let's check out what Publishers says here. Yeah, this is pretty cool. These are publishing websites that actually serve banners. And this is what I was looking for. I just clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so homebusiness.com, if we go here, all right, we'll see 99% chance that these guys are serving banners, right? So what do you think the chances are that we could probably go like, hey, you're running AdWords. Like, look, see where it says ad choices here? This means this is a Google Content Network thing. This means that they put some code, the owner of this website has put some code on their web pages, and Google is now putting ads, and Google's paying them a little bit of money every time this ad is served. What do you think the chances are if we said, hey, how much are you making from a Google AdWords commissions, or AdSense rather, commissions, and how about we just pay you a little bit more than that to only run our ads all the time? Chances are these guys might take that deal, right? Well, that's exactly what would make sense for them. So what I'm going to do here is definitely, I'm going to put this in my little notes from my main man, G Money. Put a little asterisk there because that's probably owned by an individual, maybe, you never know, and not some big conglomerate or something like that. So that's pretty good, right? And we can do a little research to find out who owns this. Now, another thing we want to do while we're here is one more little thing, which is geography. So we're trying to find out, again, who is really responding to grant stuff and what stuff they're specifically responding to. So we found some winning themes in terms of content. And we also found out some demographic data about his market, specifically 25 to 45. We know where a lot of traffic is coming from, and all this kind of stuff. We know their interests and everything. And one more thing I wanted to share with you is when we first checked out the domain, we saw that traffic was coming from Germany and Brazil, right? But what I want to do, whoops, wrong tool. I'll show you this one in a minute. There we go. What I want to do is the same thing we did with YouTube. Remember when I was like, hey, you know, we're getting all this traffic from YouTube. There's 240 something videos that were referring traffic. Let's just look at the top 20 because that's going to apply to the 80-20 rule right there. Well, we can do the same thing with countries. So I want to click on geography, and we're going to have to pay these guys a ton of money to see all 20. But with this little free trial, we can see the top 10, and we might as well utilize this. So look what we got here. We got folks in Germany, which we knew, Brazil, which we knew, India, Australia, Poland, Bulgaria, and Mexico. Now, the reason this is important, incidentally, this is just for the month of June, right? So if we were to go like last 3 months or something, this data might actually be different. So let's have a look here and see. Well, not particularly, right? But we'll use this because it's a bigger data sample. Anyway, the reason we want to know this and start testing traffic in here is because if we advertise to English-speaking people in Mexico, what do you think the cost of that traffic is going to be compared to, say, U.S. traffic? Pretty freaking cheap. So what we've got here is we have a potential gap that can be exploited. Most likely, our main man, Uncle G, is not strategically advertising to Mexico, Poland, France, and Bulgaria, and India, and Germany. Probably is hitting Australia on purpose, but unlikely that he's got specific campaigns just for these folks. So logic dictates that if we take the type of content they like and show it to them, to the same demographic people in these countries, you know, mostly predominantly men between that specific age range, and we're sending them, content with similar types of structure and everything, we're going to be able to get in front of these folks for pennies on the dollar. So I'm going to let's see if I can just actually copy these guys. It probably will end up looking terrible, but whatever. We're just using this for our own internal notes, main countries where potential is present. Boop. There we go. Okay. So look, man, here's the deal. Now we know, US and UK and all of that kind of stuff. Obviously, you want to target there, but this is probably very, very low-hanging fruit in terms of reaching people inexpensively. So all of this data is stuff that we want to know, right? But we still got more cool stuff we can learn. We've actually got a lot more cool stuff that we can learn. So I want to introduce you now to another little tool. This one's called semrush.com, and you can check them out for free. There is a little catch here. You can like do 10 little inquiries on here for free, and then they start charging you. What I recommend you do is you sign up for the free trial. It's like a week, and then if you stay longer than a week, it's $99 a month. And do whatever you want to do in regards to that. My belief is you can get all the data you really need within that first week, and if you don't want to continue using them, you don't have to, and you still got free data. So please don't let that $99 a month freak you out or anything. If you don't need to stay with them, there's no point in it, right? So let's get all the data we can right here in this session in case you don't want to be a paying subscriber here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll up to domain analytics. Oh, first I suppose I should put grantcardone.com in here. So grantcardone.com, Uncle Jeezy, my man, here we go. Okay, and 7,000 years later, here we go. So we have like kind of a lot of the same data that we got from SimilarWeb, and that's totally cool. No worries, right? It's kind of interesting. One thing that we're getting with this trial is we're able to see the keywords Homie is bidding on, and that's really cool. And we see his paid competitors to a degree. And we kind of want, and this is on a paid keyword level, right? So this is in terms of AdWords. And we want to take this with a grain of salt. Like if you really want to dig into this, you might want to like not go, oh, okay, we need to start studying these guys too, because all they're really saying right here is, hey, these guys bid on some of the same keywords as Grant, but notice it's only 27 and 8 and 12 and 8 and 7, and these are the top ones, whereas Grant's bidding on 162 keywords in total, right? But we can find out, hey, what are they bidding on in Google AdWords, right? What's it saying, and what keywords are they using, and we might be able to exploit a gap, specifically if we were to start using similar keywords. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Similar keywords to send people to your offers in the countries where we identified the gap, right? Because remember, traffic outside of United States and Canada and UK, and to a degree Australia, usually way cheaper, which is pretty freaking awesome. So we can kind of look over here and see. All right, so, oh man, of course, we got to spend more, which is fine. But we can at least see the number one, what is this, the top 10, I think, keywords here. And one of them would be Sandler training. This would be a good one to bid on in that gap situation. So I would bid on this in France and Brazil and Mexico because it's probably super cheap. This is a competitor, by the way, David Sandler's information. Pretty good stuff. Sorry, G, both of y'all stuff is good, but with all due respect to Mr. Sandler, may he rest in peace, his stuff was pretty good too. Okay, so that's thing number one that's pretty cool about this. But what's really cool about this mofo up on the hill is this guy. Okay, so if we roll over here, right here on the side to display advertising, we can start seeing some of the banners and stuff that are working, right, which is cool. And we've got how long they've been seen as well, which is great. So we know that in terms of banner targeting, right, and we'll go into all of this in terms of retargeting throughout this class. Right now, what I want you to do is just understand, like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel in anything, So if we look at the banners and stuff, we know that he's got 459 different ads, all right? We got all these different landing pages, which we may be able to see with this free trial, maybe not, but that's okay. And we got a pretty good idea of some of the ads too. Now, publishers here, this just means the websites that the banner ads are being run on. And sometimes, like we discovered earlier, you might find a place that's sending a lot of traffic where you could go to that publisher directly and be like, hey, dude, instead of running, Google AdSense or whatever and making less money, how about you just sell me this traffic directly? And you got yourself a bargain there. And that's pretty good, right? So a couple of things we want to do. First of all, let's have a look at the old ads themselves, all right? So here's the stuff. And look, here's how many times it's been seen. Here's how many days it's been seen and all of this kind of stuff. And this is great. This is for an all-time period. So Of course, they won't let us do anything because we're not paying them a bunch of money yet, but I don't want to. I want to show you what we can get for free, right? So we'll have a look here. Let's see if we can sort this or if it's already pre-sorted for us. Yeah, look, so this thing's been seen for 171 days. Now, what do you think the chances are that homie would be showing this ad for 171 days if it wasn't working? Pretty slim, right? Wouldn't you agree? So look what we learned here. First of all, we can see the ad, right? So if you have a similar product or whatever and you wanted to advertise it, you could make a similar freaking ad, right? This is pretty good. Now, strategically speaking, I'll tell you where this type of stuff fits in to your marketing mix. Like, you wouldn't want to just immediately start running banners out of the gate. But when you do start running banners, which are, by the way, freakishly inexpensive, especially if you do it the way we're going to do it in Operation Takeover, when you do start running these suckers, we might as well model the ones that are probably working. And hey, logic dictates, hot diggity, this sucker right here been running for 171 days. Old GC's marketing team ain't no dummies. You know, so they wouldn't be running that thing if it wasn't working. And what's really cool is look at our countries. Okay, this is look at all the international here, which is great. So we got the U.S., Japan, Mexico. What's that one there? Poland, kind of right in there with what we learned at SimilarWeb, Canada and Ireland. That's interesting, Ireland, right? So here's this one. Here's another one, and we can notice the offer in all of these what's really been working for them is the playbook, right? And that's really cool, super cool, as a matter of fact. Now, let's see if we click on this. See where it says click to view ad report. Let's see if they'll give us any loving on this thing. Now, here's what's really great, okay? We know a couple of things here. We know when it was first seen and last seen, all right? And who knows, this thing could still be running. We're getting limited data because we're in the free trial thing. But what's really cool is we know where it's going, right? And so that's really, really good. So if we click on this target URL over here, okay? Come on, baby. Come on, internet. We're on camera here. Look at this. Now, this is great, okay? Because here's what's likely happening. And here's one of the differences between your old boy Frankie and your main man GC. G's not a direct response guy, right? So you and I both know that either one of us could beat this page. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be hard to beat this page. So this is really cool. Okay, so if we're a competitor here and we're wanting to sell this playbook, a similar product or whatever, here's what we've learned. We've learned that display traffic, sending people to this page, is probably working with this kind of copy and stuff. So what do you think? Think you could beat this copy? Chances are, yeah. Probably could, right? So what are we going to do in our little notes? Well, we're going to do this. We're going to say, okay, that, let's see, let's get ourselves a little screen capture tool here. Hang on, I'll show you which one I like to use. I got to minimize my display for a minute. There we go. I use a little tool called Sketch. And, you know, you can, I don't know how to do this, but you don't actually have to buy a screen capture tool. You can do it on your computer by holding down some sort of combination of keys that I don't know. But I'm just going to go ahead and take a little picture of this ad here. All right. So I'm going to say capture, and I'm going to roll up over here to our notes. And the cool thing about Google Docs and Sketch here, hang on just a sec. I'll make us a little header. Cool thing about this app is that, look, you can just drag this here. Boop. And I'm going to say pointing to. Probably help if I could spell the word pointing. Bing, bing. And let's see here. Where were we? Where are you there? Oh, that's not where you are. That's that stupid page that miraculously is. There it is. So we're sending traffic here. Okay, so now we've got pretty good intel. All right, so pointing to there. And man, this is just gold. You know, I mean, what if we ran similar banners to the right people? And again, I don't want you to just start running banners arbitrarily, by the way. But if we ran similar banners, right, with design and copy and wording, and obviously we're not going to say we're Grant or anything, that would be stupid. But we ran similar banners to similar people, and we did it in those countries where there's a gap. right? Where the traffic is going to be super inexpensive, like Ireland and Japan and all of that kind of stuff, and sent that traffic to a page that was better than the one I just showed you, what do you think would happen? We'd probably do okay. And we'd probably do okay on like a tiny little shoestring ad budget, which is cool. But there's more to all of this, right? I'm not saying to exclude competitive countries like the United States at all. I'm just pointing out that with a little research, you can find these little arbitrage plays, little gaps in your market that can really kind of rock it out for you. And that's pretty sweet, right? So let's make this sucker full screen once again so we can see better. That's pretty cool. And we can kind of do this with the whole thing. So chances are, right, like all of these are pointing to the same one. If we want to come over here and we want to separate by last seen, we might be able to see more recent stuff, unless it's just being uncool and cutting this off in 2018 for whatever, which is like, come on, SimilarWeb. Not SimilarWeb. Come on, SEMrush. Why y'all messing with us? Let's see if we can do it. Nah, that's all we got to do all the time. Peckerwoods. Okay, well, whatever. Still getting pretty good data, right? So hang on just a sec. And there's another thing I want to show you. Let me pause this for a minute. Here it is. Okay, so we've also got a type of display ad called text display ads, which just ain't got no pictures in them. All right, and we're lucky right now because for whatever reason, SEMrush is being super cool to us and letting us see the super recent things that our main man GC is running. Don't know why we're getting lucky on that one right now, but I'll take it, right? So I've sorted by last seen, and I can see like, hey, look, these are pretty recent, and probably they don't stop with July. It's just that I'm in this free trial and I'm getting whatever it is I'm getting, So if we look at this, here's what's really cool. This particular one is weird. Like when I try to pull up the report on it, it has been giving me an error, but oh, look, hooray, it doesn't. Okay, cool. So one weird thing about this is not showing me where this ad is published, but that's okay. We know that it's been running for 25 days at least. This is fairly recent data, and have a look here, right? If I go here, it shows me, oh, wait a minute. Now we got ourselves, what do you say in English, a real live, honest to God direct response page, which is pretty moderately okay. Bet we could beat it. But still, this is pretty cool, right? So first thing I'm going to do is, I don't need to copy all of this tracking data here, but I'm going to do a little copy of this. I'm going to put it in my notes here for the next part of what we're going to do in our competitive research there. Okay, so that's the Cardone University free trial offer. Probably working pretty good. Okay, then I'm going to ease on back over here. I'm just going to look at these display ads. Okay, so here's what we got. All right, these are all the same ad. Okay, so they're just different ad sizes. See, this one's 748 by 90, 750 by 90, 720 by 60. These are literally just different sized display ads that are just saying the same thing. So if I click this, maybe it'll give me a little better. Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like. Not particularly exciting, right? However, now we're getting a little bit of data. Couple of things. We can see where it's being shown, which is cool. Let's see if we can see one that's really publishing a lot. No, that's all right. So not a lot of data there, but we at least have something. And of course, we're getting limited action on this thing, which is fine. But the real thing is we know the ad copy. So if you run, oh man, come on. Well, I'll just copy it from here. If we run a text ad, now again, this is no different than a banner. It literally just doesn't say anything. I mean, it doesn't have any pictures and stuff. If we run something like this, all right, that points to a page okay, if we run something like this that points to the right people, that points to a page that's similar to or better than the one I just showed you, chances are we're going to do pretty good, right? So I'm just going to put here text display ad colon. There it is. And now this is pointing here, which is awesome, right? So if you were to go back to our big picture formula, in fact, let me bring it up for you. Hang on, just so you kind of have a frame of reference here. This is where this kind of stuff is really going to start coming into play. Okay, so let's say we've seen some content, or the person's seen some content, they've clicked on your website but they haven't purchased. This is where we really start using this kind of data. We know that, okay, notice it says multi-channel offers, like just tons and tons of multi-channel offers if someone clicks on your site and doesn't buy. Well, that's what this is, all right? This is called a multi-channel offer ad. So multi-channel means it's all over the place. In this case, it's display, and this is an offer. Hey, go over here and get Cardone University, right? So within the context of everything we're doing, that's where that kind of stuff fits in, okay? And that's pretty important because we need to know when to use what and what to say and who to show it to. All right, so we've got some pretty good data here on mi main amigo Gmonnet, all right? But there's still a little bit more we can find out. G, and so many people and so many businesses really big on the social media, and notice we haven't really dug into spying on him on social yet, and I mean that in the creepiest way possible. So let's start doing a little bit of that so we can get even jiggier. All right, hang on, I'm going to bring that up for us. Okay, so before we start getting all creepy and spying on my main man G, there's one thing I want to share with you, and this is that not all things that we think are real are actually real. Check this out. Okay, I'm back in SimilarWeb. Remember, you can get a little free 10-day trial of this thing. They don't even bill you when the trial is up because you have to call them or something to find out how much it costs. So be sure to use this stuff like immediately upon receiving this information today. If we come over here and we click on, we're over here at overview, so yada, 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 traffic and engagement right here. We want to click on this and it brings us to, come on guys, be cool to me. Maybe it's marketing channels. Okay, where was it? Nope, hang on. Don't be giving me problems now. SimilarWeb, where'd you go? I just had this thing, just had this up in front of me. How did it get out of there? That is not what I was looking. This is not the page I was looking for. Okay, hang on. I'll find the right page for you. All right, so come over here, marketing channels. This is what we want to click on. This is a big deal, okay? Now, we're going to find, now you would think, right, that all of our main man Grant's traffic, which is a substantial amount of traffic, came from social media because he's like all over social media. If we click on this social thing, we will see something that is a surprise. And that is we get a ton of the social traffic that he gets. We get a ton of it from Facebook, a ton of it from YouTube, but then Instagram, 3.5%. And the reason I'm pointing this out to you is because if you follow my main man Grant, you know, homie is always on Instagram. He's all over the place. He's on Instagram stories. He does Instagram lives all the time, and that's great. But if you didn't have this data right here, you would be like, oh man, if I'm wanting to go after that market and I'm kind of trying to use this data for competitive research, then boy, oh boy, do I ever need to be on Instagram constantly. Well, not so much. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so what this means is if we want to do some competitive spying and see what types of content are really attracting people on social media with our main man G Money, we need to really be paying attention to Facebook and YouTube. Now, again, we've already checked out YouTube, right? So we know we've got, I mean, look, we got these videos here, and I advise you to do the 80-20 rule, you know, so we were doing it. He had 240 something videos that actually send traffic from YouTube. We would have done the top 20 of those and made notes on all of them. I just did a couple for the sake of this video so it wouldn't take forever, right? And I made some little notes about them. But now we need to start checking out Facebooks, okay? The Facebooks. So how do you do it? Well, there's a little tool. It's pretty sweet. It's called Social Insider. All right, socialinsider.io. I think it's 50 something bucks a month. You might be able to get a free trial, probably so. But what you can do is you can type in somebody else's Facebook pages and Instagram pages and all of that kind of stuff over here, and you can see what's going on. So I did that. So let me kind of just walk you through it. Oh, this is the dashboard you get. Okay, great. So here's what you see, right? I could look at my own Instagram stats if I wanted to. I can look at Grant's Instagram stats. I can look at his YouTube, but I want to check out his Facebook. So I've got last 30 days here, okay? So I'm looking at the 6th through the 4th or whatever. So I'm making this for you super recently. And what I want to look at first is the general overview. Okay, so he did 362 posts, which is a lot. It's a pretty good amount of posts every day. But what's really cool is I want to see the top posts, all right? Which ones are really getting the most momentum. So I could do it in this little report right here, which is fine. Look, I mean, 7,000 comments on this thing, 58,000 likes, 52,000 shares, I think, is that right? 118,000 people engaged. That's pretty cool. Right? But there's more to finding the right posts yet. This isn't really the place for it. But we do want to check out is what type of content is working the best as a general rule here. So if we look at the posts ranked, post types ranked by average engagement over here, all right, and these are pretty dang similar. I don't really know. Oh, one's got the number and one's got the percentage. We can see that, like, quite clearly the number one type of posts that are getting the most engagement is video. Like, duh, right? That's probably not a surprise, but still, you should do the research and actually find out, because you never know, right? Like, on the surface, we would have thought all of Grant's traffic came from Instagram, but it's not. It's coming from the Facebooks, which is pretty crazy. Okay, so how do we find out which exact posts are the killer dillers? We come over here to posts and we can see, but even more importantly, since we know most of the ones that are working are video, we can come over here to the videos and we can have a look here. Oh man, it's not gonna, here we go. Yeah, so we can have a look at the video posts that are working. And here's what's cool. If we look at this thing, we're sorting by best posts. We can sort by weakest posts, most shared, most comments, most impressions, most reactions, etc. And this is a good deal, right? So let's just keep it here on best posts and oh, dang it. There we go. And we want to find out really what, like, the topic is. Now, number one, it says likely to be boosted, right? And this probably was boosted. So it got a lot of action because he boosted it, which is cool. But just because something is boosted doesn't mean it's naturally going to get engagement. So don't let this skew you. All right, don't let this like trick you into thinking, oh, well, it's the only reason it got the engagement is because it's boosted. That's not the case. If people don't like the content, they're not going to engage. Doesn't matter whether you're showing it to people by paying for it or not. They ain't going to engage either way, right? So that's an important distinction to make within this context for sure. So we're sorted, again, by best posts. We're not worried about whether or not they are boosted. It doesn't really matter. First thing we want to do is we just want to have a look at them and see if we can see a super common theme. So let's see. Money, money, success, money. Now this one's used twice. All right, money right here in the title. So out of however many this is, 9, we've got money in 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's over half of them. And we could potentially even say this one's about money because it's got a dollar sign and actually mentioning a specific amount of money. All right, let's go to the next ones. Okay, which is, let's see what we got here. We got goals. This is money, right? Assets, equity, says right there. Okay, this one does not say money. Let's see here. Big dreams and motivational. Money. And blah, 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 blah. House versus whatever. Okay. Oh, look, that's live. So a lot of times, like, you kind of want to take the live ones with a little grain of salt because lives are always going to get more engagement than anything, a live Facebook thing. So we'll kind of take those out. And I'm just going to have another look, just kind of looking for the biggest engagement here. How to get rich. Okay, marriage, that's interesting right there. Real estate investing. Okay, and this is interesting. Oh, this is live. See, live. All right, so we're not going to really count those live as well. Money right there, time or money. Okay, so what are we learning, like, within the first, how many are they showing on a page? 3, 6, 9. Yeah, 9 per page. So our first, 27? A lot of them, that excluding the live episodes, a lot of them are about money. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little heading here for Facebook, right? And I'm just going to take Facebook and I'm going to say video posts Got most engagement. Dang it, sorry. Use money in the title. Cool, okay, so we've got those, and now let's just kind of start checking them out, right? So if we come back over here, okay, and we've got 126 that they're showing, are the best ones, total posts are 126 that are video posts specifically, and remember, these are the only ones we want to really care about, right, are the video ones. Then we want to do the same old 80-20 rule. We want to go through the top, let me just see, right, let's go through what's 20% of 126. I got my calculator on my phone here. Let's see, was it 126 guys or 186? 126 times 20%. So it's 25. So we want to go through the top 25. So we got those. I'm going to do one more page here to exclude these live ones and just have a look and make sure we got it. Look, money again. Okay. Was this thing live? It doesn't say it was. All right. Okay. Young Hustlers. I wonder what this thing's got. We'll have a look at it. Here's another one with a specific dollar figure in there. And so, that's your old boy Frankie. What do you know? Okay, so that's pretty good. So 25 is the number that's going to give us our top, our most important ones to look at. So now what we want to do is we want to start going through these guys individually. So I'm going to go back to number one, and I'm going to be like, okay, where's our number one post? So according to Social Insider, this one got more engagement than anything. All right, and if we want to have a look at it, where are we? Let's see if I can just make this thing pop up. Yeah, okay, it goes right there. We want to have a look at it, we can, but first thing your old boy Frankie's going to do is I'm going to copy this post address right here, and I'm going to put it in our number and our thing. So I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to put all of them in here. And I'm not going to make you watch me do all of them, all right? So best posts in order of engagement. Okay, forget the spelling error there. Excluding lives is this one. Okay, so this is numero uno, and maybe my keyboard's weird or something. Excluding, sorry, man. Jeez. All right. Hard to do it. It's hard to see the keyboard because I got this giant microphone, so you don't hear the echo here. So let's ease on back over here, and we can look. And what I would do is I would make a note here to myself of, hey, what's my man talking about specifically, right? What's the overall theme here? What's the overall message? Now, I know this, right? I know what it is, and I'm going to put a couple of notes here, all right? So I'm not going to make you watch me watch this whole thing, but if we were to go through this, we would be like, here, I'll make that bigger. Oh, sorry. What I would do this in my notes is I would say, okay, showing exotic cars, calling out specific demographic, talking about wealth. Okay, so specifically, these are the things. And what's interesting, and as I would have this, I would put within the context of this contrarian. So what he's saying in this video is, hey, any idiot can go out and make a whole bunch of money, but you don't want to be stupid and blow your money on toys. You want to invest your money and then use the passive income to buy all the toys you want. Get your act together. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what he says. So I'm going to make a little notation here, okay, which is, I'll put a little tab for us. Visual signs of affluence. Okay, talking about man. There we go. Okay, so these are my little notes. So I know, okay, if I want to reach his market, then one thing that they really freaking respond to is visual signs of affluence. All right, so we look over here. Look at this. You got this gigantic G-Wagon. This actually belongs to my friend Alan Lazar. That G-Wagon, he's loaned it to Grant because Grant got tired of the giant Cullinan and doesn't feel like buying a car. Actually, probably doesn't feel like taking the time to deal with it. And so we had those visual signs of affluence. And then here, look, you got the watch And if you're just kind of looking down there, we've got, I think there's a shot of the plane or something. So this is pretty cool. All right, yeah, there's the roller right there, which is great. And so now he's being very contrarian throughout the rest of it, which is awesome. All right, so that's what's going on in that video, which is fantastic. Okay, so, all right, don't start playing. Cool. So now what we want to do is we want to check out just the next one. Okay, so the haters one is pretty good, but here's really something where it talks about this is where the money is. Okay, so I'll wait for this guy to load up for me. I'm going to copy it. All right, now I'm going to pause this one right here. And a couple of things to immediately notice about this is money is bold in the title and graphics. All right, my gosh. A-P-H-I-C. There we go. Money is bold in the title and graphics. We look at this, right? Money is also in the headline, in the copy. Okay, so notice how short this copy is too. There's like really nothing there, where in the other one, there was a lot of copy there. All right, so, whoops, money is in title. Great, no worries. Let's see what else we can just take away without me taking all your time here. All right, oh, look at this. Deliberately tells them, instructs, cool. Okay. Let's see what else we can learn here. Alrighty. All right, money displayed a lot. Money displayed a lot. Okay, and this is a minute long. That's another thing I'm going to make a note of. So I will go back and watch this later, but I don't want you to have to watch me watch the stupid video, you know? So I'm also going to put 60 seconds. All right, so I'm going to do this one more time. Okay, I don't want you to have to watch me do all of it because you kind of get the idea, but there's something to be said for really paying attention to this. And now, look, now that we like went through that first video, this is the best one, and this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th best one right here. What do these two have in common? Visual signs of affluence, right? Supercars. And this is I don't know what this thing is. It's pretty cool looking though. If you like yellow cars, that would be nearly impossible for a larger, well-fed gentleman like myself to get into. But we know inherently, look, man, we got visual signs of affluence. This is great. Now, neither one of these are his cars, and nor does he say these are his cars, right? So the first thing, like if you're in a competitive market and you're like, man, I don't have this stuff, you know, well, you don't have to go out and say you got it. You could just literally feature pictures of it in your B-roll or talk about it or whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's have a look at this one, all right, because we've got money clearly put in the headline again. So that's the first thing I'm going to do while I'm waiting on this is I'm going to put this one, boop, I'm going to put again, money is bold in title and graphics. Okay, because it is, right? I mean, it's right there. All right, and let's have a look at what this thing says. Okay, so money again is in the copy. All right, so I'm going to put this thing down again, or title, whatever. Copy, title. See how all you got to do is just kind of look for commonalities in content. And, you know, you're kind of figuring out what to say becomes pretty easy. By no means, however, am I telling you to copy Grant. I'm just saying, hey, you know, if you want what someone's got, and we know the magic equation is show them content that gets them engaged and then start showing them offers, the question becomes who do we show it to and what kind of content, and all of this data is totally available to you, which is great. All right, let me get back over here, and let's just see if there's anything. Look, this video is 43 seconds long, which is cool, and again, he's telling them to post in the comments. So he's asking and ordering, like specifically, give me engagement. All right. So, and this is pretty smart, by the way. I'll bet you $1.52 that this thing is probably hooked up to ManyChat. So if somebody comments, they're now on a chat bot, which we talk about in this class, by the way, but this is pretty smart, right? So I'm going to put another note down here, which is going to be instructs view to comment and engage by asking an either or question. So your job, all right, if you really, really, really want to, engage. There we go. If you really, really want to get the most out of this class possible, your job is to take 5 competitors and do what I'm doing right here within the 80-20 context, right? So again, with that, what I mean by 80-20 is I know that from doing the research, video is the best performer for him by far. And these videos are ranked by the best performers. There are 126 of them. So 20% of 126, I think it was 125, I forgot now. Or not, I'm sorry, it's 25. So I just need to look through the top 25 and see what I got in common and just make little notes. And then what do we have now once we're done with this? Well, we know what we got, all right? We know exactly what type of content this market is after. And by looking at the notes, who's this market? Pretty simple, right? These are a market that's slightly skewed male. They are between the ages of, well, where did we put it? I had it somewhere. I must not have written it down, but it was 25 and 45. All right, and they're interested in making money online and stuff like Tai Lopez and ClickFunnels. Okay, so that's pretty freaking sweet. Now, there's one more thing we can do. Okay, so his second source of traffic was the YouTubes. All right, and Social Insider, by the way, has the same cool little tool thingy for the YouTubes as well. So I added it. It's real easy to add it, by the way. You just click on Add Social Profile and paste someone's YouTube page in here. But look at all the data that we can get for Homie's YouTube. All right, so if we look over here, these are his top 3 videos. This is great. I'm going to click on, I can click on overview in general. I can see that he's posted 42 over the last 30 days. For some reason, people don't post YouTube videos often. I think you should post like constantly, but who knows? Maybe that skews the algorithm. Personally, I don't care because I'm not trying to grow a huge YouTube channel, nor do I think you should be. We just want people watching videos so we can retarget them, which is like something we do later, right? So anyway, we can say, all right, let's look at Homie's videos right here. These are the most viewed. We can say least viewed, most engaged. And this is pretty interesting. I wonder what the difference is here. Let's see what happens when we filter by most engaged. Doesn't look to be too significant, but let's have a look. So let's look at this top 6. Got a grumpy old Grant over there. Okay, let's look at most viewed. See if it's too. Doesn't look like it's too different here. So let's have a look. Right now, this doesn't necessarily mean that these are the ones that sent the traffic, but that's okay because in many cases, the purpose of one of these videos is not to actually get traffic. In fact, if we come over here. There is no link in this one. So whatever it was, SEMrush or SimilarWeb, whichever one of the tools we were just looking at, was saying that like, hey, this one sent some traffic. I don't see how it possibly did, right? Because there's no link in here. All right. The purpose of these YouTube videos really is to get us engagement, because what YouTube's going to do is it's going to store everybody who watched your YouTube videos in a special audience that you can advertise to later. And you can retarget them. What? That's right. You can retarget them. Holla. Okay, so always got to keep it professional. This is important. It's worth looking at. All right, so here's one, and we don't need to make notes on this one. This one's about real estate, so this might not be relevant. Let's say we're not doing anything with real estate, so we would discount this one. Here's another one, how do you scale a business? Okay, so this is, again, like clearly about money and stuff, and if we want to look at it, all right, let's see if it'll pull it up. It will. Okay, so something. We'll wait 700. Oh man, how come you ain't? Oh, let's see. Let me get out of there. Let's see if it'll show me take me to the actual video.
So
there it is.
You.
All right, so there's G Money with this dude. So that's pretty good. All right, and look, there's a little link here, but really the purpose of this wasn't to get the traffic. It's just to get people watching. So if someone watches this, by the way, we know they're interested in business and specifically scaling. So if you're selling stuff that's not like dumb and you're looking for like real people, anyone who's watching how to scale to 100 million, keyword there is scale. But notice what we got here. Again, we would do the same stuff. I'm not going to make you watch me do it, but we would go through this. We would 80-20 it, right? So he's got much less. Total videos are 42. We'd say was 20% of this 42, and this is going to be about 8. So we would look at everything that's like on this page. We would exclude the real estate stuff, assuming you don't do real estate stuff, and we would do the exact same things. We would come through, we would look at the title, we would look at the topic, we would see if there's anything in the thumbnail that's important. So the thumbnail is the thing that they see. In this case, it's the supercar. All right. In this case, it's actually got money right here. Right. This is another contrarian one, by the way. So now we've got 2 videos that are taking a definitely contrarian approach. Okay. And here's another one, how to get rich. I mean, obviously, that's kind of appealing. It's definitely a money thing. And social media is a gift to you. Yeah, we'd have to look and have a look and see what this one is all about. But I would want you to make the same level of notes that I made for Facebook, but for the top 20% of your competitors' YouTube videos. All right. So that is your mission. I know this has been a long lesson here, but hey, if you want to take over a market, we ain't going to do it by screwing around, right? So your instructions are to do what I just did for your top 5 competitors. And make these notes, because next week, we're going to start bringing them into the vortex through this content. Like, what do you say, right? How do you structure it? I'll show you the formulas in terms of how to do it. And it's important to model something that's already working based on real data and not guessing, right? Okay, thanks for being in this class. I look forward to talking to you during the class and helping you out. And I will see you, well, hey, I guess I'll see you when we have our video conferences, yeah? Okay, off we go.